watch and pray, or stay awake and pray. These were Jesus' words to Peter, James, and John in the Garden of Gethsemane. Stay awake and pray so that you won't enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Jesus knew the evil that was at hand. He knew that a supposed friend was coming to betray him unto torment and death. Jesus knew the agony that awaited him and his disciples, yet watch and pray were Jesus' words to his disciples. Almost as if to say, what's coming is evil, and it is inevitable. And the best chance you have of standing your ground is to be so spiritually focused that your physical realities pale in comparative importance to the tremendous spiritual reality that is at hand. Notice that Jesus says, watch and pray, that you may not fall into temptation. Jesus was not concerned with their physical comfort or safety. If he was, surely he either would have said, sleep on, or run while you have the chance. Jesus was chiefly concerned about their spiritual preparedness and faith. But what does the Bible tell us? Does it say that the disciples listened to Jesus and were spiritually vigilant? Does it say that the disciples were prepared for the evil that came? No. 3 times Jesus warned the disciples to watch and pray, and 3 times they fell asleep. What was the result then of Peter, James, and John's slumber? The Bible tells us that instead of standing their ground when Judas and the mob came to arrest Jesus, every single one of the disciples fled in a chaotic terror. Because these men of God had not been spiritually vigilant and awake, they were thrown into a state of shameful fright. John Mark fled so violently that he ended up fleeing naked. Peter was so terrified of being associated with Jesus that he lied to a little girl, not once, not twice, but 3 times. The price of being spiritually asleep in a decisive moment of spiritual reality was utter humiliation and alienation. Thankfully, Jesus graciously helped them out of this state after his triumphant resurrection, redeemed them mightily and blessed them powerfully, showing us that Jesus can indeed redeem anyone from any circumstance. But the moral of this sleepy story remains. I think a similar injunction can be seen in the story of Cain and Able. Cain was downcast because his brother's sacrifices were accepted by God, but his were not. In response to seeing Cain in his downcast state, God says this, "Why are you furious, and why are you downcast? If you do right, won't you be accepted? But if you do not do right, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must master it." The idea here is something similar to the idea that Jesus was trying to convey to the 3 disciples. Be careful, be awake, stay vigilant, control yourself. Because if you are not sharp and spiritually awake, sin will grab you and do its best to kill you. But again, what do we see? Cain did not master his anger and his sin, but rather gave into it and murdered his own brother. We as Christians need to keep ourselves spiritually sharp and awake. Talk to God, plead with God. See for yourself what God is like in the Bible. Be around people who value God and who value the truth of spiritual reality. Falling asleep while the enemy is at hand can at the very least be humiliating, and at the very worst, deadly.